Trump keeps his primary streak alive. High-stakes debates and racist jokes. It was another jam-packed week in politics. This is your roundup. President Trump's hand-picked candidate walked away with another big Republican victory. Scandal-plagued Ken Paxton beat incumbent Senator John Cornyn in a Texas-sized blowout. But what's good for the president could be bad for his party. Political analysts say the results could put the Texas Senate seat in play for Democrats for the first time in decades. In Arizona, 2 Republicans running for Attorney General faced off in a high-profile debate. Former Democrat Rodney Glassman has the money, but a losing record in political campaigns. Current Senate President Warren Peterson lacks the money, but has shown he can win races. Whoever comes out on top will face incumbent Democrat Chris Mays. And the Arizona Republic published an article detailing how former Pinell County Sheriff Mark Lamb traded racist jokes with a border vigilante. This follows another piece where the paper investigated allegations that Lamb sent explicit messages and nude pictures to a woman who was not his wife. Lamb is running to replace Andy Biggs in CD5 and has the Trump endorsement. And the Glendale City Council narrowly voted to remove one of its own members. They voted 4-3 that Lupe Conches violated the city's charter that prohibits members from holding more than one elected office at the same time. Conches was recently elected to the board of the Salt River Project. Conches has reportedly said he will seek legal advice. And that is your political roundup for the week. And let's bring in our panel to talk about all of that. Republican consultant Wes Gullett and Democrat Matt Grodzki. Thanks for being here. And let's start with those the latest in the Texas primary. It's another win for President Trump in these Republican primaries. They sent Ken Paxton now to the general election. He is scandal-plagued. He's got a lot of controversy and issues behind him. Do you think this puts Texas in play for Democrats?
Everybody was happy about the outcome of the election. The president was happy about it, and so were the Democrats, because they really believe that Paxton is vulnerable. But amongst the base, and Texas base is pretty big for the Republican Party, we'll see. But I think it's... I think the Democrats are back alive in Texas. It's been a long time, but they have a history of electing Democrats back in the day.
Is this kind of a mirage there? I mean, you know, Texas is a very red Republican state. Can James Tellerico accomplish what others have not been able to do for decades?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a mirage. I think there's good reason to be optimistic. I think Paxton is incredibly toxic, but we've got to do the work, right? I mean, Texas has been elusive for us in recent history, so we can't take anything for granted. So the worst thing Democrats can do in Texas, and frankly in battlegrounds across the country, is to just think that it's just going to go our way no matter what.
Okay, and you know, the president has been winning a lot in these primaries, all the way, if you go down to the state Republican primaries and the state legislature in Indiana, you go back there, he's taken out Thomas Massey, who he didn't like, in Kentucky. This is working in the primaries. Is this going to be a good thing in the general, kind of building off this Paxton thing? How is this going to play in the general election?
Well, we've got a president who single-handedly started a war, doubled our gas prices, alienated all of our allies, and isolated us in the world, and he's still winning these primaries. Unbelievable. So it's a long time between now and November, so things, I think, will change. I never rule out Trump. Trump is a master politician, so and the Democrats are still behind, even with all that stuff.
Yeah. What is behind that? I mean, you're looking at polling, and the Democrats still have a very terrible reputation. People have a low view of Democrats when you talk to them, when you take polls of them. What's going on here?
I think people are tired of politics in general and political parties, right? So I think the incentive for us is we're seen as the alternative. What we need to do in a post-midterm cycle and ahead of the presidential is remind people why Democrats are the better party, not just because we're the only other party that's an option. But, you know, I agree with Wes, but, you know, Trump is a master cultist, not just a master politician. So he runs the Republican primaries, that's fine, but he's toxic beyond that. So I think we'll see that play out in the general elections.
Well, we'll see how toxic, because the Democrats need to prove that out.
Absolutely.
They need to fight. they need to. The Democrats have this, complain, worry. We just saw Governor Hobbs. I just got an email the other day. I'm tied. How can you be tied? How can you be tied right now? Gas prices are double.
Yeah, and speaking of Hobbs, she's out with a new ad. It's kind of strange. I mean, she's been governor now for 4 years, and it's a basic bio ad, just telling people who she is. Shouldn't people know her story by now?
I think people know her story, but look, the reality is we're a battleground state. This is a state where Democrats have a voter registration disadvantage, and she needs to message and persuade early, right? Especially where the margins are going to be tight. They're always tight in Arizona. So I think it's fine, and it's a good thing she's got the money to go out there and advertise as early as she can, because pretty soon the airwaves are going to be saturated with congressionals and legislative races, and people are going to want to tune out. So go now.
Yeah, what was your takeaway from that bio ad?
Well, by now we should know her bio. Doug Ducey, we knew his bio. Jan Brewer, we knew their bios. When you're at this point, but if you got enough money, I guess you run the standard campaign. However, she's in the middle of a budget. Talk about what the Republicans are screwing up. And how she's for school kids and parents, and she's going to make things affordable, and she's going to do all these things and then go out and do it.
Yeah. And if she doesn't get some of the things she has said that she wants to do, she's said this for 4 years, put some guardrails on ESA. If she can't get that done, if she can't get an extension put on the ballot for Prop 123, is this a win or a loss for the governor on the budget?
I think it's still a win. I mean, I think she reset the narrative by calling for the moratorium. She brought the Republicans to the table. Every indication I see is that they're close. I know that there's talk about, are we 97%, are we 98%? Who knows on that one? But I think she's going to make compromises. They're going to make compromises. We're going to get a budget. And then we just got to get a legislature that's Democratic so she can actually get some of these broader things done that she wants.
All right, have to take a quick break. But when we come back, another installment in the Arizona Republican investigation brings new allegations against Mark Lamb. Will this bring his congressional hopes to a halt? Thanks for sticking around. Let's get into this issue with Sheriff Mark Lamb. Now, obviously, these pieces from these investigations with the Arizona Republic, they have, looked at cases where he is sending illicit nude pictures of himself to women, threatening women, and now the latest installment that he was engaged or trading racist jokes with a border vigilante. Going into this race, it was almost a shoo-in that Mark Lamb was going to win. Has the race changed at all since these pieces have come out?
Well, you'd think so. But again, we just talked about how Trump is running the board on the primaries, and Trump has endorsed Lamb. Lamb has been a big Trumper from the get-go. So I think anything is possible. I don't think his campaign is over. I think that him not talking about it makes him look really bad. I think he needs to explain himself. But if he explained himself and played through it, I think the Trump endorsement, and if Trump doesn't back away from it, it's going to be very, very powerful.
Yeah, let's talk about the PR strategy here. He has not been talking about this. As someone who works in PR, should he be out talking and explaining this to the public?
Yeah, he should, for Republican politics, he should just own it and brush it aside, right? Because I think to Wes's point, this is the Trump party. He's got the Trump endorsement, and they've shown that they can just weather these things, right? But I think I'll take things that shouldn't surprise any of us for 500, right? I mean, this is an election denier. He's shown his character by being so dishonest. So I'm not surprised that these allegations popped up. I'm not surprised that this happened. I just think that the public needs to be more aware of it, and Republicans should do some soul searching with it and identify if this is somebody they really want representing them.
Is this another example for old school politicos like everybody here at this table that politics has really changed a lot in the last 10 years?
Oh my gosh.
That maybe 20 years ago something like this came out, your campaign is done.
Yeah, you'd drop out of the race. Politics has changed dramatically. And the idea, but today, if he apologized, it's changed so much. Back before, you'd apologize and play through it. Now you don't even have to apologize, which is ridiculous. It's outrageous, but it's the world we live in today.
All right, and his opponent, Republican primary opponent, is a guy named Daniel Keenan. He's already out with an ad. talking about these allegations been leveled against Mr. Lamb. Is this going to make some headway?
It's what he has to do. It's his only option, right? When he's competing against the other guy having the Trump endorsement and higher name ID, he's got to go negative on him, right? But I think, again, back to what Wes was saying, if the other guy doesn't talk, acknowledge it, or even just push through it, that's going to be rough for him. So I would imagine we'll have a few more news cycles where we get to talk about this fun issue.
Yeah, and if Lamb was able to somehow to get the nomination, this is a very red district. He's still probably a shoo-in if he wins this race. He's a shoo-in to probably win in November, correct?
The math is really, really hard for the Democrats, yeah.
Yeah. Let's shift gears a little bit. I want to talk about the Attorney General. There was a big debate in the Republican primary. Warren Peterson, the current Senate president, and Rodney Glassman, kind of a perennial candidate. He's run for a lot of offices. This was a debate that was more about personal attacks than anything else. Not too surprising, because in these primaries you do get that, because when you get candidates who are pretty much aligned on all the issues, you go after them personally, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was entertaining television. I'm glad that Arizona got to see up close why these two individuals should be nowhere near the AG's office, right? I mean, I think he's been an attorney for 28 months. The other one's got a fairly ambiguous record. So aside from them punching each other all night long, they said some inaccurate things about the current AG. So the general election should be fun, regardless of whoever's in there.
And just in general, too, with debates like that, when you just have two candidates basically name-calling and yelling at each other, I mean, they were accusing, Peterson was saying Glassman belonged in prison. You know, these kinds of things. The real winner's Chris Mays, right? I mean, if she's the incumbent, because she looks like, it could be argued that she looks like she's much more stately and above this kind of stuff, correct?
Yeah, she should. And she's done a good job as Attorney General. These guys are going to battle it out. The money thing for Rodney is significant, because when you have to get out in front and have people, legislators always think, no matter what stage they're in, that they're very popular. Nobody knows them. Nobody knows who the Senate president is.
No. You know, you get outside of 1700 West Washington, and they would be shocked like how little people know who they are.
I'm going to defer to the Senate president. But I'm in that world. So. But outside of it, you don't know. So money matters. You know, name ID matters, and I think that Rodney is going to. You're going to see him press that attack on, and it's going to be. I think it'll be impactful.
You can't use props in the debate, though. He broke the rules by using props. I thought Goldstein was going to drop him through a trap door.
There you go. Let's wrap on this. It's another issue here. Kari Lake has been nominated to be the next ambassador for Jamaica, and as part of her qualifications, they post a letter on the State Department's website. Now, in this letter, they claim that Kari Lake was the winner of not one but two Billboard Music Awards. We've done some checking, and we can't find any evidence that Kari Lake had won any significant music awards out there. Why would the State Department make this claim?
I guess you're just not looking hard enough, man. I mean, I don't know how she had time to be this, accomplished music artist when she was already governor, already senator, going to be ambassador to Jamaica. I mean, she's not worthy of us, so she should get to Jamaica as fast as she can. We do not deserve her.
And what was your take from this? That was just an odd detail that was put in there.
Yeah, and you've got to be careful. But classic Trump. They don't, there's not a lot of vetting going on. They don't have anybody who's actually been through the process before. So that they're not, it's a very different kind of political world where you just don't do the details.
You just don't even know why you would
or you don't even care about the details. And talk about playing through it, man. They just play through it.
All right.
But she's, this is it for her.
All right, we're going to have to end it right there. That's all the time we have this week. But be sure to join us next week for more Politics Unplugged. Good night.